than as a Freemason. The anarchist movement, founded by the Freemasons for political idiots, uses the Grand Orient Satanist red and black colours. Michel had been active on the barricades in the Paris Commune from the 18th of March to the 28th of May 1871, which called itself the Dictatorship of the Proletariat. Louis Michel was a member of the Lodge La Philosophie Sociale within La Grande Loge Symbolique Écossaise, according to documents from the Grand Orient of France. Le Grand Orient de France has 41,000 members in 980 lodges in France and other countries. A plate in the Lodge Museum in Paris depicts a Freemason leaning on a corpse and at the same time trying to build a new world for us, an invisible temple. But it is not possible to build a world on corpses, lies, plunder and injustice. Such a society would be extremely unstable and unbalanced. Murder and other expressions of violence as well as lies are part of the Grand Orient model of a perfect society. Freemasonry is building its new world on the corpses of its victims. Salvador Allende became a Freemason in 1935 in the Lodge Progreso No. 4 in Valparaiso. He is still held in great esteem by the Grand Orient because he wanted to introduce communism into Chile. The Grand Orient has, through its affiliated lodges, spread death and revolution also in many other countries. The Freemasons forced the Tsar to abdicate on the 15th of February 1917 on the threat that if he refused, his family would be killed. This was revealed by Anna Viberova, a close friend to the Tsar family, in her memoirs. A Russian English-speaking documentary, The Russian Revolution, admits
politicians, major industrialists, and the military, unable to reach a compromise with the Tsar, gravitated to the idea of a conspiracy. Many of them, political adversaries in the open, were allied behind the scenes, all members of a secret Freemason brotherhood, the Great East of Peoples of Russia. Founded in St. Petersburg about 1912, the organization was controlled by a Supreme Council and had more than 300 members. In 1916, popular lawyer Alexander Kerensky became head of the Supreme Council. He and other Great East members nurtured a plan of an anti-Tsarist coup.
The makers of the film apparently believed the time had come to tell the truth. Many of the Bolsheviks, as well as Lenin and Trotsky, were Freemasons. Lenin was a Freemason of the 31st degree and a member of the French lodge Art et Travail. Lenin also became a member of the most malicious lodge of the Grand Orient, the Nine Sisters, in 1914. Karl Radek, real name Chaim Sobelson, who was already a member of the Grand Orient of France before the Bolsheviks seized power, was appointed Grand Master of the Soviet Grand Lodge, the North Star. Just as powerful as the Grand Orient is the Grand Lodge of France, which regularly organizes its secretive meetings at its headquarters in Paris. The Masonic leaders admit that a misuse of power occasionally occurs, but claim at the same time that the order itself deals sternly with such issues. That is not true. Nearly everyone who has attempted to work against the corruption within Freemasonry or alerted the leadership within the order has been ostracized or has chosen to leave Freemasonry. The Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of France, Georges Marcoux, stated in a letter to the members in 1929, "Freemasonry shall rule the world over, and from its immortal principles, inherited from one generation to the next, will be built a stable foundation, the basis of a more perfect ideal society." In actual fact, The Freemasons control the European Union. The Freemasons present themselves as wise and honest, concerned only with the practice of charity. It is, however, out of the question that a wise and honest person would become a Freemason. A member of a Masonic lodge cannot at the same time be wise and honest. If he is a Freemason and intelligent, he cannot possibly be honest. This is particularly true of the communists. The Masons recognize each other by asking simple questions like, "What is the time? How old are you?" If you answer 9:30 or 50 years, this shows that you are not a brother. One is supposed to answer, "There is no time any longer," or "I am very old." You can also show that you are a brother by asking, "Do you also work day and night?" The Grand Lodge of France has very influential members in both the European Union Commission and the Parliament. The Grand Orient of France, in fact, is considered the most active and most powerful in all of Europe. Within the Central European Union institutions, the Freemasons wreak havoc without any hindrance. Proposals of registering all Freemasons within the European Parliament have been stopped in Strasbourg. In 1966, Richard Coudenhove Kalergi published Pan-Europe 1922 to 1966 in Vienna, where he states that the young generation would one day live in the United States of Europe. Masonic documents testify to unofficial political activity, such as the creation of the United States of Europe and the crushing of the Franco government in Spain. The Freemasons are convinced that their magic symbols with powerfully charged low frequencies affect the environment. The influence is not positive. The British Freemasons stole their own Egyptian obelisk, originally erected by Thutmose III. The 3,500-year-old obelisk, known as Cleopatra's Needle, stands on Victoria Embankment by the Thames in London. The obelisk was transported to London from Alexandria and erected on the 13th of September 1878. The Freemason Dr. Erasmus Wilson paid for the transport, which, due to a powerful storm in the Bay of Biscay, resulted in the death of 6 men. The obelisk was a symbol of the sun. The Freemasons erected an obelisk known as the Pyramid, composed of 13 parts, on the square next to the Royal Palace in Stockholm following the murder of Gustavus III in 1792. It is built to the proportions of the Luxor obelisk, with a model of Cheops' pyramid at the top. We can see Masonic obelisks everywhere. On the 22nd of February 1881, the Freemasons, including William Hulbert and William H. Vanderbilt, raised a third obelisk from Alexandria in Central Park in New York City behind the Metropolitan Museum of Art. This obelisk was also originally erected at Heliopolis in Egypt in 1600 BC by Thutmose III. It was removed to Alexandria in 12 BC by the Romans. The ominous scorpions are hiding under this obelisk. The scorpion is a very important symbol to the Freemasons. Many negative events in the 19th and 20th centuries has struck humanity at the period when the